Hey guys, I'm back with lasagna this time. Although I'm making it slightly different, we are making a chicken mint sauce. Let me tell you, this is a fantastic and delicious alternative to using beef. So if you haven't, go to your butchers and grab some chicken mints. Let's get started. So over medium heat, you want to add 1 diced onion. You want to cook that in some hot oil for about 3 to 4 minutes. We don't want the onions to fully cook. Place in your chicken mince. I'm using about 400 grams, which is about 2 large chicken breasts. As soon as you place it into the hot pan, make sure to start breaking it up because it likes to clump back together again. If you can't get chicken mince at the butcher's, don't fret, you can simply put chicken breast into the blender and it works the same. When it comes to spices, I like to use 1 tablespoon of chilli, garlic, salt, pepper, coriander and 1 chicken stock cube. Mix that really well. Don't stop breaking up that chicken, but once it gets some colour to it, I like to add a handful of fresh basil and about 4 cloves of chopped garlic. Throw in a teaspoon of some concentrated tomato paste, a teaspoon of pesto, and a teaspoon of some balsamic glaze. You can skip the balsamic glaze, but please don't skip the pesto. We're only a family of 2. When it comes to sauces, I always make more just for busier days. I'm adding about 700 grams of chopped tomatoes. Try not to overcook the chicken because it's just chicken and chicken cooks very quickly. It'll cook within the sauce whilst we simmer it. Time to make this juicy. So fill up one of your jars with 1 cup of water and pour that back in. After you've given it a really good mixing, lower the heat and then place the lid on, and we're going to leave it to simmer for 30 minutes. Whilst the sauce simmers away, let's get cracking with our cheese. I'm using mild cheddar cheese. I'm using about 200 grams. You can, if you like, buy pre-grated cheese, but I would really suggest that you don't because fresh is always better. I also had half a ball of some homemade mozzarella, so I thought I'd also grate that in. Place that to one side, and let's start off with our homemade bechamel sauce. So over medium heat, you want to add 2 tablespoons of plain flour into 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and you want to give that a mix, a very good mix, until it forms a very smooth paste. Something that looks like this, and then gradually start to add your milk. I'm using about 500 milliliters of milk. Please do not stop whisking. I often use oat milk as well, so if you do not have dairy but you have cheese, go ahead and use any milk you like. Once you have that mixed well, lower the heat and leave it to simmer for about 10 minutes, and then go ahead and add your spices. I like to add 1 teaspoon nutmeg, black pepper and chicken stock powder. You can always add salt, but I feel like the chicken stock powder is quite salty for me. Once the sauce is nice and thick like this, turn off the heat. Time to finally assemble. So I like to do alternative sauces for each layer. The bottom one is simply to prevent sticking. So then you want to place your pasta sheets on top. I do not cook my pasta sheets because it's just a simple waste of time. They will cook in the oven. Because our base layer was made of the tomato sauce, the next layer will be our bechamel. I know everyone does this differently, so if you like to use both sauces in each layer, go ahead. Also, I know people like to add cheese into their bechamel. I like to do it this way because it allows me to control the amount of cheese because I don't like my lasagna too cheesy. I know what's wrong with me. Next layer would be the tomato sauce. Remember guys, because we're not cooking our pasta, you have to make sure that it is slightly saucier than if you were to cook your pasta sheets or even use fresh lasagna sheets. I'm going to add in a sprinkle of nutmeg because nutmeg and lasagna is just a match made in heaven. So you want to repeat the process of the cheese, the pasta, the alternative layers of sauces, and then when you get to the top of your dish, I like to add both sauces. Sometimes I even add 1 egg yolk into this top layer just to give it a richer colour. I just chose not to this time. Then you want to add in a sprinkle of nutmeg because I just seem to love nutmeg. And then your cheeses, you can top it up with other cheeses, but I'm using my mozzarella and cheddar on this one. Go ahead and cover it with some aluminium foil, but make sure to create a dome in the centre so that the cheese doesn't melt and stick to it. and then we're going to bake it in a fan oven at 180 Celsius for 30 minutes, and then we're going to take the foil off and cook it for an extra 10 minutes. And voila, we have ourselves lasagna. You can leave this to rest for it to get cool, but if you're impatient like I am when it comes to lasagna, you can eat it straight away, every single time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Until next time guys, see ya.